Hello everyone. In this video, I'll basically be discussing what if the MCU had a good multiverse saga. Now, me personally, I think that there are multiple reasons as to why Phase 4 didn't do as well as the previous phases. And one of those reasons could be how Disney was trying to push out their new streaming service, Disney Plus, and they wanted to push out as much Marvel shows as they can into that streaming service to get people to purchase the subscription. So this video will basically be me going back in time to about 2020, where I would suddenly wake up, book a flight to Marvel headquarters, walk up to the pitch room, and look Kevin Feige dead in the eyes and say, listen to me. This is how we're going to do this. And then be escorted out by security. Now, the first MCU project I'd have released in this phase would still be Wandavision, as I feel like that was a pretty good start to the phase, but if there was anything I would change, I'd have Doctor Strange appear by the end of the show, since I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be originally in the show, but they just cut him out for the stupidest reason. So yeah, I'd have Doctor Strange appear by the end to help Wanda defeat Agatha Harkness, who will still be the main villain of this show. The second project I have planned will be Captain America Legacy, which will essentially be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but instead of a TV show, it'll be transformed into a movie. So pretty much it'll be the same events, but in a movie format, where U.S. Agent will still be the main villain along with the Flag Smashers, and Sam will ultimately become the new Captain America by the end. The next project will be Loki, which will ultimately be the same, as I feel like this is one of the better Phase 4 shows that we got. Except I'd have Loki be perceived as more cunning and menacing, since this is supposed to be him after the events of the 2012 Avengers movie, where he was more strategical and actually looked as if he was the god of mischief, while in the original show he was pretty much portrayed as this bumbling idiot who just gets outshined by pretty much everyone. So I'd have Loki be, or appear to be, more competent. Also, I'd have Loki be portrayed more as pretty much a douchebag, and because one of the main things I didn't like about the original show was how sympathetic they tried to make Loki. I mean, yeah, he was portrayed to be sympathetic in phases 1 through 3, but I feel like they went overboard with that in the show, especially with how they explained that the Space Stone was influencing his actions, so that's why he was as evil as he was in Avengers 1. That's one retcon that I didn't really like, and that's why I'd have this show be focused on Loki's character growth from being this horrible villain to a more reluctant anti-hero. But besides that, that's pretty much all I would change about this show, and I'd still set up Kang, but he won't be the main villain of the Multiverse Saga. I'll explain that in further detail later on. The next MCU project will be the Inhumans, which in this universe will replace the Eternals and will be pretty much the same as the 2017 version, but a much better version of that show. So I'd have it be a 10-episode show explaining the backstory and lore of the Inhumans and where they were all this time, so it can cohesively be integrated into the greater MCU. The villain I'd have for this movie would be Black Bolt's brother Maximus, and the plot would go down the same but in a much better fashion in the 2017 show. The movie following will be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and this will relatively stay the same. This was a pretty good movie, and I see no reason to change anything about it. After this will be Hawkeye, which I'll be turning into a movie, since, it's Hawkeye, and I think the guy deserves a movie. So it'll pretty much be the same plot as it was in the show, but basically transformed into a movie. The only change would be that this would technically be Yelena's first appearance in the MCU, since the Black Widow movie doesn't exist in my version of Phase 4. So her backstory will be quickly explained, and she'll serve her original role as she did in the TV show. The following movie will be Spider-Man No Way Home, and this movie would relatively say the same as well. The next project I have planned will be Daredevil Born Again. And you might be wondering why I'm having this be so early on in the Multiverse Saga. Well, I mean, Daredevil did appear as Matt Murdock in No Way Home, so I think that would set as a more of a hype factor and would engage more people into watching the show. And I also want to establish the street side of the MCU as well, so that's why Daredevil would be appearing early on just to set that foundation. So this show would also have 18 episodes and would basically be whatever Marvel ends up having in it. And if it's not already added by the time this show comes out, I'd have Spider-Man make a cameo just to build more of a connectedness with the universe. The next project I'd have planned will be She-Hulk. And instead of a show, I'd have this be the first special presentation. So it'll be basically one of those 45-minute specials. And it'll basically just be a speed through of the original She-Hulk show, and which would explain the origin of Jennifer Walters and her being an attorney at law for superhumans. And I'd have Matt Murdock make a cameo, but he won't be Daredevil. So yeah, this would basically just be a one shot. Now the next movie I have planned will be Black Panther, Two Kings. And with all due respect to Chadwick Boseman's passing, I thought he was a phenomenal actor for T'Challa, but ultimately I feel as if it would be best to recast the character of T'Challa, as I feel like that character is too important to the Marvel Universe to be killed off screen. And so whoever they would choose to recast T'Challa, I wouldn't really mind. And the plot of this movie would be similar to that of Wakanda Forever, except T'Challa will actually be in the movie and he'll face off against Namor. And Queen Ramonda would still die in the film, which would result in a final clash between both Black Panther and Namor, in which T'Challa chooses to spare Namor's life, and Namor, in return of this act, would settle a truce between Atlantis and Wakanda. And yes, I'll be calling it Atlantis and not Talokan in this version. Now, the next project of this phase will be Nick Fury. And instead of being Secret Invasion, I'd have the show be more of a setup to that movie. So this movie would see the Skrulls start to rebel because of how their planet that they have been promised still haven't been given to them. And so some of the Skrull factions will start to rebel against humans and would devote to invading Earth in order to seek their new homeworld. So the movie would end with the Skrull Rebellion managing to multiply in numbers, leading up to a certain storyline. But before we get to that, the next project I have planned will be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So this movie will basically be a better version of what we got in the original movie. So this will actually delve deep into the multiverse and explore different aspects of it instead of just having traveled to one or two universes. And also, I'd have Tom Cruise, Superior Iron Man, be a part of the Illuminati just for fan service purposes. And speaking of the Illuminati, I'd have them put more of a fight against Wanda, since in the way they were beaten, it was just pretty embarrassing, and they would still lose to Wanda, but it won't be as humiliating as it was in the original movie. Because, come on, bro. So yeah, the movie would end the same way, with Wanda sacrificing herself and Doctor Strange getting that third eye in his forehead. And now, the final project of this phase will be Avengers Secret Invasion. And the Avengers lineup I'm planning to have will be Captain America, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, Wasp, Black Panther, Hulk, War Machine, and Wong. This movie will essentially be the crossover between these different heroes and them fighting against the Skrulls, hence the title. And so the movie would end with the Avengers managing to defeat the Skrulls and save the world. But I'd have a post-credit scene featuring a certain villain who we might know, known as Doctor Doom, who I'd have be the main villain of the Multiverse Saga. So yeah, that's my pitch for Phase 4, and let me know what you guys think, and if you think I should do a Phase 5 and 6, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.